Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. My IT provider do that for me. How many times have we heard that? So today we're going to be delving into 5 things you should be considering when using an outsourced IT provider. So let's put this out there first of all. Security and compliance is everyone's thing. It's not just IT. It's not an IT thing. This is something the whole organisation has to be on board with. It can be as simple as your employees spotting those questionable emails. It could be your headline board level information security strategy and then everything in between. So it very much is a whole company thing. It becomes what you live and breathe, what you do. So yeah, certainly not just for your IT provider, although they're an important piece of the jigsaw and you should be working closely with them on that. But very much, don't just think it's security, it's IT, it's my provider, because they're probably going to be working on a different understanding to what you may, an expectation to what you may have. Do you really know your IT provider? And by that, actually, I'd extend that to any third-party vendor that you work with. So let's just stick with IT for a moment. So what do you know about them? Are they a leading partner with people like Microsoft or other industry leaders? Do they have the right security in place, the right compliance processes in place? Are they acting in your best interests? What is it they do? What is it they do specifically for you? All of these things you should really understand. Now, some of this can be achieved quite easily by looking at what certifications and standards your provider holds. I work for a Microsoft Azure Expert MSP, which is one of the top tier of Microsoft partners. We have to go through extensive auditing by Microsoft to ensure that we are delivering to the highest possible standards. Alongside that, we also hold ISO 27001 for information security. We hold ISO 20000 for service delivery management. And there's many other standards across both the IT industry and other industries as well as applicable. So first thing, go and get those certificates. Ask your provider for them. They should be more than happy to share them. From that, they should have things like privacy policies in line with data protection law. Go and get copies of those, review them, make sure you're happy with what they're doing, how they act. Understand the service that you have purchased from them. They should have a clearly defined service definition. And this should include things like what the scope of the service is. So, are they providing support just for your cloud platforms? Are they supporting your Office? Are they supporting your end user devices? What are the SLAs? What are the deliverables? All of that sort of thing should all be in there. What are the continuity plans your provider has in place? You're relying on them. What happens if they have an outage? How does that impact you? So do this due diligence. And I'd extend that to beyond IT as well, to any third-party vendor. But certainly we're talking about IT today, so do that due diligence. Get those certificates, validate that they are acting in your best interest and you understand everything they're doing. So just to elaborate, I touched on this in the last point, but this is so key. It's such an important point, and it comes up time and time again. So what do you think IT do? What do IT think they do? And for a lot of organisations, the two don't line up. So like I touched on earlier, it can be as simple as you believe that IT are looking after your end user devices, your laptops. They don't believe they are. So when a user contacts your IT service desk with a problem on their laptop, IT then are pushing back. We don't have access. We don't have permission to do that. The user is expecting that support. And of course, there's impact into your business. You're stopping people working. So get that scope, get that definition. If you have requirements from IT and they're not currently delivering, that's a conversation to be had. It may be that they need to update the service definition and update that service that they're delivering to you. And there's a conversation around that. It may be they just don't do what you need. Now, whether that means you bring another provider in to complement them, or in fact, they're not the provider for you. There's different ways that can go. But absolutely, fully understand what you think they do, what they think they do, and get those aligned. They've got to be aligned. If they're not, it will cause at best disruption, if worse, a really bad experience and potential downtime and impact into your business. Coming back to my point at the beginning, security and compliance is everyone's problem. It's a whole company thing, not just IT. So even if you've outsourced your IT, you've still got to have your own information security policies. What do you as an organisation do for information security? Now, a lot of that will be leaning on your IT partner, without a doubt. But you need to have a clear understanding, and this relates to things like data protection, your acceptable use policies, and other related areas as well. Your continuity planning, all of that you should have in place. Now, many of those will lean into the services you obtain from your IT partner. So if it is continuity planning, if there is a Microsoft outage that is impacting your ability to operate, what is your IT partner doing as part of that continuity and then recovery process? But equally, what are you doing as a business? How will you operate as a business? What do your staff need to do? What do they need to know? How do they need to work? IT can't do that. That's how you fundamentally operate as a business. What is your acceptable use? What are those policies like? Because you need to tell your staff. You need to tell them, bring your own device is acceptable. Under what criteria? Or perhaps it isn't. How they can use and what they can use your corporate devices for. How information can be shared. All of this, you have to identify and work on that yourself. And again, a good partner could help you with this and help you pull this together. But there has to be executive ownership from the top of the company, from the senior leadership down to guide on this. So certainly get help if you're not sure. But you do have to have ownership as well from the top level down. To finish up, one of my favourites, continual improvement. And again, this extends beyond IT. This is not just your IT provider, but it's a key one for them. So how are the services reviewed? How are the services continually refined? We can touch this back to the previous points I've discussed today. So if there is a misalignment of what you're expecting against what they deliver, again, a continual improvement can be to bring those into greater alignment by modification of the service. It could be there's been a failing in the service. How does your provider pick up from that? How do they investigate, identify where the problem was, and put steps in place to stop it happening again? It could be better use of the technology stack available, which would feed into continual improvement for your data protection, your information security. So this is such a key piece of the jigsaw here, and it touches everything. So if something needs updating, you're in continual improvement territory. And of course, there's going to be external factors here as well. If there's updates to data protection legislation, updates to there's continually evolving threats that we see, risks to your business and how you're operating as a business will inevitably require continual improvement. The COVID pandemic was an absolutely prime example of this. We had to update fast to remote and hybrid working, and we've had to update our security to ensure that that still delivered what we needed it to. So continual improvement and working closely with your IT partner is absolutely key. And there's many ways that can happen. You should be getting service reports, security reports from them. Again, that should all be documented in your service definition. So you should understand what you're getting from them, but meet with them regularly. A good partner will be happy to be talking to you about this sort of thing, because it can be an opportunity for them to do better, as well as what you're receiving. So meet with them, discuss this continual improvement, and have that as a standing point on your agenda, whether that's a monthly meeting, a quarterly meeting, or whatever. So there's some thoughts on things you should be considering around your IT strategy, particularly working with an outsourced IT partner. Hopefully that was useful, and you'd like to see more of this, so please do drop a like and subscribe on the video and the channel. Try and do more of these sorts of content. Any suggestions, things you'd like to hear me to talk about, drop them in the comments below, and hopefully see you on the next video.